Hello there and welcome back to my channel, or if this is the first video of mine you are seeing, then welcome. Okay, it is finally time for me to stop yapping about this and actually put this plan into motion. I am finally going to start my No Pan Left Behind. I don't know how successful I will be. I'm just going to go ahead and say that now. I don't know. I do have a lot of eyeshadow in my collection. I mean, it's just one of my largest categories. It just, it is what it is when it comes to that. But I really want to make more of a conscious decision to use the products that are already in my collection as well, because I mean, they're right there. I have a thing right here, I have a thing over there, they're right there. Now, I still want to try new makeup. That is not me saying that I'm completely switching gears and that I'm only going to be doing like, project panning kind of content. No, I still want to test new makeup as long as I'm able, but I kind of want to be a little bit more choosy about what I'm purchasing, like, a little bit. I'm not saying that I'm going to succeed at that either. I love makeup. It's one of the biggest joys in my life. I just love wearing it. I love trying it. I love using it. It's kind of one of those things. So I'm not going to completely stop testing new makeup, but maybe not as frequently. I mean, I'll have to see how this year goes. I will. Now, I am pre-filming this a little bit earlier, so I'm not exactly sure when this video is going up, but I do know that it is going up after my video where I was revisiting some discontinued eyeshadow palettes, and since that video, I have decluttered those two palettes, removed the few singles that I wanted, which we had a 14 pan palette. I kept 4 shades, and then we had was it a 12 pan? I think it was a 12 or 13 pan palette, the e.l.f. Cosmetics and Chipotle one. I kept 2 of the pans, and luckily I was able to remove the pans without having to destroy the entire palettes. So I passed those on to some friends, and they just had them a very happy little time making them some little quads, some little duos out of the singles that were left. So you know what? I'm glad that somebody is going to get some use out of those, because those were just shades in those palettes that I knew I didn't want. I kept the few shades that I wanted, and that was it, and I'm happy with that. And going forward, I'm hoping that I can definitely, with this project, do that. Maybe there's an eyeshadow palette in my collection that maybe I want one shade in the palette and then I can pass the rest of it on. I just want to do that. I see a lot of creators on here do that kind of thing. They'll remove all the pans from their palette, or whichever ones they want, and then they'll pass on the ones they don't want and then keep the few they do. And I feel like that's actually a really good idea, because then the whole palette is not sitting there wasting, and you get to keep the shades that you feel like you actually are going to reach for. Which, the 6 shades I kept from those 2 palettes, I know I'm going to get some use out of those because they are right up my alley. What I'm going to do is let my Tiny Decisions app pick out, I think I'm going to start with maybe 5 palettes. Now, there are 2 palettes that if it picks, I'm going to let it pick again, because I have actually already used all the shades in my ABH Norvina palette and my Beauty Bay Neutrals, the 42 pan palette. I've used all the shades in both of those, so if it picks them, I'm going to let it spin again, because I've already done this with them and they're completed technically. I mean, I still of course want to use them throughout the year, but they have been completed as far as this project is concerned. So I am going to pull up my app and we are going to see how this goes. I'm hoping for the best. Let's see who we get. Let's just go. I can't read who that is. Okay, the Huda Beauty Pastels Mint. Okay, that's a 9 pan. That should be pretty easy, and I love pastels. That's one of the few ways that I do love to wear colors, so I am excited about that one. I'm just going to keep letting my wheel spin, and then I will show all of these palettes after I finish letting it pick out everything. Alright, let's see what we got. Tartelette Baby Bloom. Okay, that's a little 6 pan, so far it's giving me some easy ones, which I kind of like, because this is my first round here, and I like that it's been a little easy on me, but watch me say that and I'm going to jinx it. Alright, let's let it pick again. e.l.f. Cosmetics Cookies and Dream. Okay, that's another small one. That's an 8 pan palette. Okay, so it's giving me some small ones. We can get these done pretty easily. Alright. Another small one, the Natasha Denona Mini Love. That's a 5 pan palette. It is definitely giving me some of my easier palettes, because I figured it was going to pick one of those big 30 pan palettes, but it still might. We got one more to go. We got one more. Alright, last one. Let's see who it picks for me. Okay, it picked the Pixie and the Hello Kitty eyeshadow palettes. So that is a 9 pan, I believe, too. So it picked all small palettes. So let me grab all of those and then I will show you each of the palettes. Okay, so I feel like it picked some pretty easy palettes for me to really quickly get some looks out of these and move on, because these are all smaller palettes. So I'm actually really happy about that for my first round with this. So we will see, you know, how I do. I don't have like a plan as to when I will be doing updates on this, but really as soon as I finish these, or at least get one use out of each of these pans, as soon as I'm done, I'll come on here and do an update and we'll spin again. So I don't really have a set time period for this, especially since this is my first, you know, round with this. So the first one it picked was from Huda Beauty, and this is the Pastels Mint Eyeshadow Palette. Now, you can't buy this palette anymore, but this is one of my favorites. I think these palettes were kind of hit or miss with people from Huda Beauty, but I really like them. I love pastels. I love soft colors like this. This is definitely going to be an easy palette for me to use up because these shades are just so stunning. And mint, I feel like, honestly, I've just been so wanting spring to come. So when I see these beautiful pastels, it reminds me of spring. You know, I'm wearing this little pop of pinky lip today, and I'm pink makeup in general. I'm just so ready for spring. I know that you shouldn't really wish everything away like that because, you know, the year goes by quick enough already, but I love springtime. Spring is just my favorite. So I am so excited to get some use out of this palette. I'm so excited. The next one we have is from Tarte. This is the Tartelette Baby Bloom eyeshadow palette. I'm not sure if you can get this one anymore either, but it's just this little, okay, I need to turn it a little bit because this is wanting to reflect. This is just this little teeny tiny little 6-pan palette, which, you know what, I can easily do a look with this. Actually, this might be a good palette for me to use tomorrow because I feel like I can go ahead and do one look using all 6 shades. I like these smaller palettes for that reason. I can just quickly move this out. So I'm excited for that. And I love that this has a little bit of some of the pinky tones in it. I've just been loving the pinks lately. I don't know. My face is turning, speaking of, my face is turning pink a little bit because it's really hot in this room. So if you notice my face keep turning pink as I'm talking about me loving pink, it's because it's really hot in here, and then I'm wearing this sweater as well, and this is a thick sweater. So I have really been loving the pink tones lately. I love pink in general. Pink is my most favorite color, contrary to my background, but I just wanted something plain, you know, for here. I just wanted something simple behind me. Chris, these flowers have like a little bit of a pale, dusty pink to them, but now my horse is my everything. But I do love pink. Pink is my most favorite color, so it picked a few palettes that have some pink tones in it. I'm excited. Okay, the next palette it picked is interesting because I know that I had a video go up in, was it this month? Or was it at the end? No, or was it in December? I'm not sure, but I had a video go up where I mentioned eyeshadow palettes that I didn't use last year that I wanted to use this year, and this was one of them. This was the e.l.f. Cosmetics Cookies and Dreams palette. This is another one that is perfect for right now because of these beautiful blues, beautiful winter tones. I mean, of course you can wear eyeshadow, these tones, all year round, but I do like to sometimes be inspired by the seasons. So I love that it picked this one too, especially for now, get some of these pretty blues. But then I love how we have these neutrals as well, so I could easily do a look with those neutrals and then add maybe like some of these lighter pops of blue to the inner corner. Ooh, that might be really pretty. I might have to do that very soon. So I'm excited that it picked this one. I love that it picked me some really smaller palettes, so I feel like that's, you know, a good way for me to get started, get really motivated doing this. And also this is going to help me, while the end goal of this is not to declutter, I like that I'm doing this because it also is letting me know what makeup I actually really want my collection, that I really do love. And I think this is a good test of that. So the next one that it picked, another one that has some cute little pink shades in it, which I'm excited. And this one would be perfect for in February as well, for Valentine's Day. This is the Natasha Denona Mini Love eyeshadow palette, which does have some of these pretty little pinks in it, which I've been all about the pink, so I am excited that it picked some with pink tones. And this is a really cute, this is another palette that I can easily use in just one look, and then I can get all of these 5 shades done and we can move on to the next eyeshadow palette. So I love that it's picking these types of palettes. Oh, and also in my update, I completely forgot, I will of course also be sharing some pictures of the looks that I did, so you can absolutely see my progress while I'm going. And the next one that it picked was the Pixie and Hello Kitty eyeshadow palette, which I really like this palette. Now, this is something that you can use on your face or your eyes. I have used it on my face before, but I like it as eyeshadow. I really like these tones for eyeshadows, especially these pretty little pinks. This is one that I always felt like I used during summer a lot because of these really more punchier tones up here. But of course, this is perfect for just, you know, anytime. It's a very simple, more neutral pinky leaning palette, a very easy palette to use. And honestly, some of the lighter shades in the palette, like, you know, maybe these two, maybe even, well, I don't know about that one. I can also use them as blush toppers. I don't necessarily have to use this particular palette as eyeshadow. I can use it on my cheeks as well because, I mean, as long as I'm using each pan, that's a win. That's a win. So, you know what? This is going to be maybe a sort of short and sweet little video because I know that I like to chat. I've mentioned that before. I love to chat about makeup. And since doing my makeup inventory and then, of course, having that Tiny Decisions app, which is what I use today, I've just been going through my collection and I'm trying to get use out of everything in my collection, not just eyeshadow, but everything. And even though it's just January, I just, you know, I want to point that out, but it is, I feel like, helping narrow down my preferences for me. Like, you know, it picked a blush for me the other day. I've already passed that blush on. I've already passed it on. It just looks straight up orange on me and I'm not into that. I don't want that. I really mostly want like the more neutral leaning shades, like more of the nude blushes or the soft pinks or, you know, maybe the soft lavenders or soft lilac or even like the peachy pinks but like on the softer end. I definitely want more subtle blushes. I do want to have a few options in my collection for more, you know, bolder blushes because I do think the berry tones are beautiful. I think I have maybe one red blush maybe. But I mean, I don't know. This is just really helping me with my preferences and that's why I want to be a little picky going forward when I do add products into my makeup collection. Do I really want this product? And eyeshadow palettes especially. Would I use every shade in the eyeshadow palette? If the answer is no, then I don't need to get it. I don't need to get it. Maybe the only exception would be if there's something about the collection itself, kind of, for example, the ColourPop and New Moon, like Twilight, New Moon, that kind of stuff. I am buying that palette more so for the movie and the books and not so much for the actual palette, but that's kind of like a collector's thing to me. I am going to use the palette, but it's a very warm leaning kind of eyeshadow palette and I haven't been into that lately, but like I said, I bought it more so for the collab than anything, so I might bend my rules a little bit for things like that, but other than that, if it's just a regular eyeshadow palette, no collab, I need to really think about it. Would I use every shade in the palette? And if not, don't buy it. Don't buy it, ma'am. So I do hope that you enjoyed today's video, and if you did, I hope you will please consider leaving a like, a comment, or subscribing if you haven't already. Make sure you hit the bell icon so you are alerted to all my future uploads. And I don't know if any of these are still available. I know a few of them aren't, but I mean, I can always link some of them below if you're interested in them. I know the e.l.f. one's not, the Huda Beauty one. I think you can still buy the Natasha, Denona, and the Pixie. I'm not sure about the Baby Bloom. That might have been limited edition. But I mean, that's not really the point in this video, but I mean, I can link them for you if you are interested in them. But, you know, let me know, are you doing something like this? Are you doing any kind of project panning or like any of these kind of projects like that, like No Pan Left Behind? Or maybe you're doing something a little bit different. Like maybe eyeshadow is not your thing and you're doing like a no pan left behind for your blush. That'd be something really fun to do. Maybe I ought to kind of start doing that as well. Just start working my way through my blushes, see who I want to keep. But thank you so much for watching. I hope to see you in my next one. Bye!